wanted to ask Reshan, what new opportunities, without this tech talk, leaving it aside, what new opportunities do you see from remote teaching?
I think because the operating parameters are so different, and it forces essentially a redesign of most school programs. It forces institutions or districts or municipalities to be clearer about what their purpose is. Like, why is this social institution there for young people? So I'm speaking more about K-12 schools. And then within that, there's tremendous opportunity to take some of those bad institutional or cultural or regional habits that have just kind of lived on in school systems for a long time. And now there's like, an external force has now kind of ripped the Band-Aid off, so to say, to allow, avoiding gradual change, right? Especially in areas where there are, real problems. So like, in the United States, if you look at most history curricula, it's very one-sided as far as whose story is told, right? So if you get clear about, well, what is the goals or purpose of teaching history and social studies in K-12 schools? And it's not about learning facts or learning the right history, but it's about trying to understand, well, human anthropology in one way, but how societies are developed, and in many ways to learn about how certain things happened, and hopefully apply those lessons to what might happen in the future. So I think if you get clear on that mindset, so instead, the purpose of history isn't teaching a certain set of facts, but rather how to think and apply understanding of what's come before us, then all of a sudden you could think about how can you be more impactful with the types of content vehicles you have students experience in service of those goals. And that's where you can also start to think about, well, what is most timely to teach, right? What is going to be the most relevant to young people so that they can make those connections, as opposed to arbitrarily teaching, well, Roman history, that's interesting. Sure, it is interesting, but how relevant is it to the modern connections you're trying to make? And so that's just like one example, and I'm specifically calling attention to it just because of what's happening in the United States these days. But I would say it's even more than an opportunity. I think it's a responsibility to do these things regardless. And I think these circumstances actually make some of these harder switches as far as direction and mindset and mission in many ways. You've cleared some of the hurdles, or this pandemic has cleared some of those hurdles that would otherwise be very difficult to work through when trying to change any organization or any region or anything as far as what's truly important.
Fantastic. And I think with this answer, you already answered the question coming from Luis Gustavo Molina, who asked how the situation changes online, how an online education changes the traditional way of teaching and learning in the classrooms. Susan, Simone, would you like to add something to what Reshan shared?
I would like to add, when I was listening to Reshan, it really resonated, because I think that the situation here in the United States obviously is a crisis situation and life is uncertain, but the virus has given us the opportunity worldwide to have a unique time where we are all experiencing the same thing. And I look at this time for teachers to say, we have the opportunity to make change in our teaching. And I have taught in schools in close to 40 countries. And there's a theme that I see throughout the teaching where teachers, just as Simona was saying, they're stressed, they're unhappy, they have too much on them. We're much more alike than we are different. We have hit almost rock bottom. And if we can use this time to challenge ourselves, change our mindset, and take this and learn from it. And Bart, I think what you have here with Explain Everything, that there could be a source of good ideas and activities and ways that people connect socially and emotionally with their students, what a database that could be, because we're only at the beginning of learning it. And Simone and I wrote this book, and we believe it's important to go within. We believe in the importance of knowing who you are. But I think we have ahead of us a task to say, how do we get this to communicate our authentic self in the classroom? And with all of these teachers, there are ways that people have, and we gather those ways together. And I think we're going to make teaching better than ever because of this
Yeah, yeah.
crisis.